Good afternoon. Good Friday. I always kind of wonder, Good Friday, how we came up with that term. And I thought this is a great time for us to talk a little bit about, partly about our feelings, about fear, about what it is we're going through in this uncertain time. I don't know about you, but I have some concerns about my family, about my friends, maybe even about myself. And it brings up all kinds of things, emotions, and fear is one of them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about maybe what was going on with Jesus when the Garden of Gethsemane happened. And he was arrested and taken, brought before trial, and up on the cross. You know, fear is not something that we like to talk about, we like to think about very much. Basically, we respond to fear differently. We respond in three ways usually with fear. One, we may freeze, we may stop whatever we're doing, and we may be paralyzed, not knowing where to turn next. Another behavior is maybe we're afraid and we run away, we flee. We drop what we're doing and we run away. We run away. We are fearful of things. We run away from those things we're afraid of. The other one is perhaps our blood pressure rises and our fists clench and we stabilize ourselves and we just get ready to fight. So we can either freeze or we can flee or we can fight. Those are kind of three behavior reactions we have to fear. But as I thought about this, I thought about Jesus. And I thought about fear is basically really an important instinct that we have. I mean, for survival, we need fear. We need to know when to be ready to flee or to fight, maybe even just to stop what we're doing. So fear is important, but fear is part of our life. So I just want to say today, I want you to think about fear not as a saboteur of life, but as a companion along your journey. So I think that's kind of what fear is all about for us, at least during these uncertain times and during the time that we reflect on Good Friday. You know, we don't always know when fear is going to happen. A lot of us carry emotional baggage and things seem to creep up on us, and we just aren't sure what will happen next. But fear usually comes when we feel vulnerable or loss of control, or sometimes we feel confused. So as I thought about Jesus and about time coming up to Good Friday for him, about going out to the Garden of Gethsemane after that Last Supper, knowing that Judas had left his company and perhaps he had an inkling that betrayal was going to happen. Yet Jesus in his concern takes his three trusted disciples with him, Peter, James, and John, and they go out to the garden. And it's interesting that he asks them to go with him because he doesn't ask them to gather in a group, to hold hands, to bow their heads and pray. No, he sets them aside and he goes on a distance from them. He doesn't do this just once, nor does he do it twice. He does it 3 times. And each time he goes back to the disciples, they are distant from him. They can't hear what he's saying, but he's bothered because they are not awake. Now, why did he want this wakeful companionship? Was there something that was concerning him, something that he wanted to convey, maybe through his body language, maybe through his actions of going to prayer? Maybe what he wanted to do is be an example to them so that when times came to them, when later on, when the arrest came, they would be more thoughtful and calm about their decisions because they saw how calm he was becoming as he spent time in prayer. You see, he had hope. God was still going to walk with him through whatever journey he had. He had faith that God was always there, and he loved God. He knew God had his best interests in mind. He had the best interests of his followers as well. God was going to help him get through the next few hours, whatever they would be, because they would be moved to become part of God's purpose in this world. He trusted that God loved him. Remember the times that God said from a voice from above that he loved his son. There were 2 times. There was a baptism, and there was a time of the transfiguration on that mountain. And God said he was pleased with him. At the first time of the baptism, Jesus really hadn't had much ministry. And yet he hears from God that he loves him. He cares for him. He knows him. He's pleased with who Jesus is becoming. And he holds on to that. He holds on to that love. Later on, Jesus is asked about the greatest commandment. And what does he say? The 2 commandments on which all the prophets stand are to love God, to love your neighbor as yourself. This gave Jesus confidence and courage and capacity to face everything that he was going to face, even in the next 15 hours of his life. Love is important because it outlasts fear. It's not just a feeling, it's a commitment. It's a commitment to be with someone, to be present through the tough and the rough times. Love can also give us peace, lasting beyond that quick rising of our blood pressure when we are afraid. Love can bring us a sense of comfort when we're feeling vulnerable. Love can give us a sense of purpose so that our concern is not just for who we are, but how we'll be in the world, how we will impact more than just ourselves. Love is greater than fear. Love can conquer all fear. But one thing I realize is I've been reading in my daily devotions. In the morning I've been reading called Breakfast with Karl Barth. Remember, Karl Barth talks about something else that I think overcomes fear besides just love. He talks about joy. I was struck when I read that, joy being something that could go over, outcast fear, something that could make a difference. And then I remembered the fact that when Jesus came to earth, the time we celebrated Christmas, every time the angels came to various parties, whether it be Mary, Joseph, or the shepherds, and they said, "Be not afraid." And what did they say instead? "Do not be afraid, because we bring you great joy." I think the joy that they brought Mary was a sense that she would have a son who would have a kingdom that would last forever. What mother doesn't want her son to have something that will hold on and will last forever? And then for Joseph, that he would have a son. It says in Matthew, he would have a son who would save his people. What father doesn't want a child, whether it be a son or a daughter, who would bring salvation to those around them? And then to the shepherds, what joy was brought to them? The joy that they were the first ones to come to the manger, to the bedside, to the cribside of the long-awaited Messiah. How great our joy, a song that is sung during Christmas time. It is joy that moves us beyond our feelings of fear. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of disease? Are you afraid of new circumstances? Some of us were afraid of the loss of our livelihood. Maybe even, if we admit it, we're afraid of death. But Good Friday is good for a couple reasons. First of all, it was on that Good Friday that Jesus died on the cross and paid our penalty for our sins, for our debts. We no longer have that barrier between God and us. It has been wiped away. And Jesus, secondly, has paved a new way for our lives. To live, not without fear, because fear, again, is not a saboteur of the life, but it's a companion for our journey. So we can live with fear. We can take the good things that fear brings us, helping us to know whether we need to be ready to fight or to flight, and maybe just pause for a moment. So for Good Friday for us today is not something that is the devastating end of an era for Jesus. It's the beginning. And today is a day for us to remember not to let fear control us, but to know that we will have great joy. If not now, soon, there will be great joy. And I just think of the time when we gather together, again, without being virtually connected, but face to face, where we can touch, pass the peace of Christ with more than just an air bump or jazz hands. We can learn to shake, high five, or give a hug. I'm looking for that time of joy, a time that helps me to continue to operate during this time of great fear all around us. Let us celebrate this Good Friday knowing that fear is something that can be overcome by joy. Hallelujah. To God be the glory.